A simple but deadly effective method for catching quality eating fish in your lake or river. Hi, my name's Roger Osborne, and in today's video I'm going to show you such a simple way to catch a whole variety of beautiful eating fish in your local estuary. It's fantastic, something I've been doing for years. And while I'm fishing, I'll be discussing my thinking and also showing you all of my equipment and my rigs. Stick around to the end for a free PDF download which will outline some vital keys from today's session. If you're enjoying these videos, subscription is absolutely free and it really helps my channel. So please make sure that you like, subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't done already. Let's get into the fishing. So I've come out on my local lake this afternoon. At the moment it's probably maybe an hour and a half or so before dark. I'm using only one bait, and that is the humble pilchard. I'm using whole pilchards, and I'm fishing the drop-offs along the edge of the sandbar with the pilchards. Although you catch such a great variety of species of fish with this particular bait and method, fish like bream, tailor, snapper, mulloway, a whole range of fish, and of course flathead. But flathead are just a little bit different, and I'm going to focus a bit on them and I'll explain why, because I figure you're going to catch all of those other species anyway. Now, whether you've been fishing for flathead for a short time or a long time, it's really important for us to always remember that flathead are ambush predators and they sit stationary on the ground. 90% of the time they're sitting half buried in the sand waiting for their dinner to come to them. So therefore a moving bait is number one when fishing for flathead. That's why soft plastics do so well, because you are prospecting an area and you're hopping a lure across the bottom. Same thing with live mullet. You've got a live bait that's kicking along and moving and making a bit of ruckus and a little bit of, you know, like distress signals for the fish. So a moving bait for flathead is absolutely crucial, makes a massive difference in how many flathead you will catch. So in today's video, that's what I'll be doing. I will be imparting an action to my bait. But what I'm doing, actually, as far as I know, very few people do this type of method, and it really is fantastic. So I will be, my rig is so simple. I'm actually going to show you my tackle box. So I'm out here, I've got some bait in my bait bucket. Then in my back pocket, all I've got is a little packet with a couple of hooks. That's my entire tackle box today. I've got 2 spare sets of hooks there. And I'm just going to get a pilchard out and whack it on. And then I'll talk a little bit about the rig. And also I'm going to be doing a video soon. There's a lot of things about when it comes to ganging your own hooks or technical things around gang hooks that I think would be very helpful for a lot of you guys out there. So I'm going to do a video on that. I was just thinking about that today. Because I do make my own ganged hooks. I do buy some that are pre-made, but there's some subtleties and there's some changes you can make to gang hooks that make them even more effective, which I will be sharing with you guys very soon. So make sure you stay tuned for that. See, I need to, if you're not sure, if you're not good at lining up the hooks, gang hooks on a pilchard, you line them up so the top hook is in line with the eye. Then you can see where your bottom hook, your first hook needs to go. So therefore I'll put this hook through the pilchard in this position, swing this one around, hook that one in that position, and then look at that, right through the eyeball. How fantastic. So that's how you put a whole pilchard on. Okie dokie, now I'm ready to have a cast. Now there are a bunch of things. What I'm doing looks really, really basic and simple, but there are a bunch of things that I'm going to teach you that are important when you're fishing like this. Now, first of all, the terrain I'm fishing, you can see I'm standing in relatively shallow water, and I'm kind of on the edge of where the water drops off into the deeper water. I'm on a sand bottom at the moment, and I'm going to be casting from the shallow out into the deep, and then I'm going to be bringing my pilchard bait back towards me, somewhat like you do a soft plastic, but a little bit slower, a little bit more subtler. But I'm going to be just gently hopping that pilchard across the bottom back towards myself. I'll give it a couple of little flicks and then just let it sit there for a minute, and then I'll give it a little bit more of a flick So it's slower than when you're fishing with soft plastics, but you're basically jiggling that pilchard and then letting it sit there and so forth. So that's the first important thing. That's what you do with it. So I'm going to just walk out a little bit further, get a bit, maybe get a bit wet, closer to the edge. I can see that there's a crab pot just out near where I am here. And I'm actually going to work my way along the edge of the drop-off. I'm going to have a cast here. It's like when you're using plastics, another similar thing, you don't just keep casting in the one spot, exactly the same spot, time after time. You move along a little bit and you prospect. Now, another point to what I'm doing is that I'm not using a sinker, just purely some hooks on the line with a pilchard. One of the good things about that is when you cast it out and it lands in the water, it just gradually wafts down like a leaf, just like if you dropped a pilchard in the water with nothing attached to it. It looks perfectly natural, just gradually sinks down until it just nestles on the bottom. So I'm going to let it settle there, but I'm just going to give it a couple of little jiggles, not much. Just going to move it just a little bit. The spot that I'm fishing today, I've actually came here in my boat just because it was convenient. But I mean, I could get here by land, drive my car really close just as well. So it wasn't dependent on me having a boat. And I used to do a lot of this type of fishing in Narrabeen Lake in Sydney, all land-based. I never used a boat, just walked out onto the edges of the banks and fished like this and had some amazing catches. So I brought with me a pole, a landing net and a keeper net. So that, you know, when I hook a nice fish, I'm actually set up to land it with the net. And I've got something to put my fish in and I don't have to go back to shore or back to the boat. I can just be self-sufficient. I'm going to come up into this shallower water. Whoa, I just nearly trod on a stingray. For this type of fishing, I actually use my light beach fishing rod because I find that it's much better for casting a whole pilchard rather than if you used like a little rod that you would use for whiting or bream or a soft plastic. Having the longer rod, this is only a 9'6" rod, but it certainly helps with casting a whole pilchard. And I use 15-pound line, which means if I hook something big, I'm pretty well set up. So I use 15-pound line, and I can get a decent cast in, because you could hook a beast. I've hooked some really big flathead this way, but I've got a mate who fishes like this a lot, and he's hooked quite a few mulloway and some big ones while he's just been flicking the pillies. So I haven't caught a mulloway doing this yet, but I've caught tailor, mainly flathead with bream and tailor. I'm snagged. Look at that, snagged on the bottom. Don't know what that is. I think I'm gonna have to break my line off. Unless I drag in someone's crab pot that got off or something. Oh, I've pulled it off the bottom, whatever it is. Maybe it's a big stick. My line didn't break. What have I got? It's actually moving. This is really weird. It's moving, it's alive, whatever it is. Hope it's not a stingray that I'm... Oh man! Woo, look at this! Not at what I expected to hook, but I think I'll use the net because they're good to eat. Oh, no way. I just saw a really big flathead just right in front of my feet. Why didn't I cast my line there? This creature has 8 legs. I thought I was snagged, but Mr. Octopus has taken my pilchard. Look at him. Look at him there. He's quite a sizable octopus. Look at him. Wow. I'm going to just go like that and net that guy. Oh, he's crawling up my net. Look at that. Now, I don't think I'm going to get my hooks out of that in a hurry. Actually, I love eating octopus though. Nothing like marinating some octopus and then char grilling it on the barbecue. Oh my goodness. How good is that? I'm waiting for that reel to scream. I can see a massive flathead lie just beside where I'm standing. Probably about 80 centimetres long and quite deep. And I saw a big puff of smoke before when I disturbed a flathead. So it's the light is starting to fade. I've probably had a bait in the water for about an hour. I'll tell you what, the mozzies are coming out too. So I'm going to continue this tomorrow because it's only been a short session. So I'm just going to call it quits now, but part 2, we're going to continue tomorrow doing exactly the same thing, and I'll be able to teach you a little bit more because I haven't been able to say everything that I wanted to say at this point. So I'll see you in the morning. So yesterday afternoon it was a bright sunny day, actually really bright, and I was waiting for the sun to disappear, but today against reports it's been really cloudy with a really strong south wind. It's a lot cooler, which is more pleasant. And so I've come to a different part of the lake for part 2 because of the wind today. The wind has influenced me in where I am going, which is often the case. The place I've come to this afternoon, I don't need to wander out onto a massive sandbank like I was yesterday. I'm basically just walking the shore and flicking my pilchards out from the shore and bringing them back to the shore. With this particular method, the actual method of using the pilchard is you're casting it out with no sinker, you're letting it naturally waft down to the bottom, and that you're just gently jiggling it and hopping it back towards the shore. And flathead love a moving bait, so that always attracts attention. Also, we need to cover ground. So with this, you don't cast in the same spot. I'm going to be moving around and covering ground until I locate where the fish are. That's what I used to do when I was fishing in Sydney, when I used to fish this way, and I caught so many fish. It was one of my favourite methods of fishing. So I'm going to just start doing that and enjoy this beautiful afternoon. I'm out of the wind here. If I was on the opposite side of the lake, it would be blowing a gale. Whoa! This was my first cast. Whoa. Awesome. Just took a bit of line actually. Oh, don't you love, they're so exciting when you hook a fish and it peels line. This is cool. It's obviously going to be an eating size fish. It's not a small fish. Woo! Okay, it's on the surface just out there. I'm just going to walk back towards the shore a little bit. Now, because I'm fishing on the shore, I can actually beach the fish. I brought a net with me, but I don't really need a net. It's heading over this way a bit. This is what you call still water action. This is actually a beautiful big bream. Look at the size of this guy. This is a big bream, my goodness. Wow. Look at him. Oh, look at him. He's a big fella. Oh my goodness. What an awesome fish that is. Goodness, he'd be close to 40 centimetres, maybe about, yeah, up around 38 to 40 centimetres. Beautiful bream. Isn't he a magnificent fish? What a great example of a bream. That size fish, they're absolutely beautiful and they fight so hard. Well, that was first cast, so I better get my line back out there again. Anyway, I'm very happy with that. See, the idea is to actually, because you have no sinker, you just want to allow some time for that bait just to naturally sink all the way to the bottom. You want it to get to the bottom. And while this type of fishing is a little bit similar to how you, hang on, I'm getting a bite. There might be a few big bream out there, but while it's a bit similar to using soft plastics, it's actually, if you imagine if you're a soft plastic fisherman, if you slow everything down, you do what you do with soft plastics, but you just slow it all down. Just a really gentle retrieve, flicking it across the bottom. That was, I felt a bit of weight then, but it was just pilchard sitting there. Sometimes you go to pick it up and a flathead's just sucked it up and it's just sitting on it. I can feel some little peckers out there. Oh man, did you see that bite? I missed it though. I think I'll probably only have half a pilchard left. Man, surprising. Getting a few bites. Yep, look, all I've got left is the head of the pilchard. In this case, I've actually got 4 gang hooks. I've made this setup myself. So I've got a hook that put the 4th hook in right near the tail. And the 4th hook is a smaller hook than the other ones. So in order to get them all in and get the end hook in the eye of the fish, I've had to put the 4th hook in near its tail, and then when I get to the top of the fish you'll see that the top hook goes beautifully through its eye. Oh well, I'm going to cast in a slightly different spot. I was letting it float down before. It really didn't take long to get a bite. Because there might be a few bream out there. Okay, it's probably sunk down to the bottom by now, so I might just give it a little bit of a jiggle across the bottom. In between jiggling it a bit towards yourself, it's good to just let it rest for a minute or so before you give it a bit more of a pull. Just let it sit out there. Oops, I think a prawn just bit my foot or something. That pilchard's sailing out beautifully, getting good distance. I could tell that the pilchard had landed on the bottom then because I was watching my line, even though it went out a fair way, and there was a point where my line just relaxed. So obviously the pilchard has landed on the bottom. There's a small fish biting then. Took the bait, hooked it momentarily. I ended up with a little bit of weed instead. Oh, got him this time. This is not a flathead either. It's not as big as the last one. Now if this guy was just a little bit bigger, it would be awesome. Look at the colours of this fish. How beautiful is that? Look at that. This guy here, in New South Wales, the legal length for snapper is 30 centimetres, and this guy's probably he's probably 30 centimetres. But he's just on, so I think I'll let him go, but they're a really beautiful fish. So you're just not quite big enough to keep. Probably, if I measured him, he'd be 30, but I think I'll let him go. Oh, this is really enjoyable. There's a bit of action, which is fantastic. I love it when a pilchard sails through the air just straight without kind of spinning around. I know that I've spoken to some people who've caught snapper in this lake in the 60 to 70 metre size range. They do come in here to breed at different times. Just like Lake Macquarie up near Newcastle, they get some good snapper in there. Oh, I'm going to bite again. Oh, I get so eager. Missed him. Didn't feel, it was probably another snappery type of bite. Yep, no bait left at all. Whack another one on. In my session yesterday, I was using my light beach rod, which is 10 foot long. But I just was thinking about it and I opted to lighten up a little bit today. This rod is 8'9", totally capable of casting a pilchard, and I'm using braid because that's helping me get a bit of extra distance. So I think in future when I'm doing this type of fishing, I'll fish with braid, and this is just a lot more comfortable and easy to use in this type of setting in a lake. I'm so used to using really light lines in the lake and rods that are only 6 or 7 feet long. But this is great. It's really good and certainly capable of landing a big fish if I hook one. I'm glad I'm getting out a nice distance from the shore, mainly because I just want to be able to work that pilchard back and cover a bit of area. You know, you can catch anything with a bait like that, especially at this time of the day. Just had some nibbles then, but I'm hoping they haven't knocked off the pilchard already. At the moment, I'm not really getting a chance. I'm getting a bit of a. I'm not really getting a chance to work it back at the moment because I'm getting bites as soon as I hit the water. I might be a little bit more aggressive. As soon as I know that pilchard's hit the bottom, I might start working it back. Look, nothing. Beautiful. Oh, I know I'm going to get nailed. See, also there's a possibility of getting smashed by Taylor at this time of the evening as well. Alright, I'm waiting for it to hit the bottom. It hasn't hit the bottom yet. It just hit the bottom just then, but I had a nibble straight away. I'm going to wait till something picks it up and runs with it, because I'm just getting smallish bites at the moment. I think I might have lost my bait already. And you've got to remember, I'm not using any sinker. It's a great way to fish with no lead. I think I better check it. Still probably got half a pilchard on there. Yeah, not much. A little bit of skeleton is all that's left. Got something, but it's not very big. Just a lot of, feels like a small snapper again. Yep. That's exactly what it is. You can see all the little blue spots on them. Pink with blue spots. So he can go back. Oops. Oh, he's gone. I just want to get my bait out there as quick as I can. That's what I think some of the things are that have been stealing my bait, is those really small snapper. Oh, on again. I think it's more of the same. Maybe fractionally bigger than the last one. I've got a fish and a piece of weed at the same time, or some sort of strange object off the bottom. I thought, this feels really weird. One hook has the snapper, and one hook has a weird thing. So that guy is just undersized. Oh, off he goes. Sorry about that. You know, when you're doing this type of fishing, anything can happen. You can cook some amazing fish. It really is a wonderful way to fish, just with a set of ganked hooks and no sinker and a pilchard. It's really effective. Well, I've had another short session by the lake, caught a couple of really nice fish this afternoon, got that beautiful octopus yesterday afternoon, but I'm going to give it another session just to show you what an amazing method it is. And really, you catch so many species this way. So I'll be back. I'm back down at the lake for another flick. I love this style of fishing. It is so simple. Don't you love it when things are really simple and that they work well? And you know, when you fish this way, the potential for catching quality fish is so high. It's an awesome thing to do. So I'm going to whack on another pilchard. I'm using 4 hooks in a single gang. These particular hooks are a 3/0. You can fish like this any time during the day, but that last hour or so before dark really is an amazing time to be doing it. And so many fish love a pilchard. They're a beautiful oily bait. So I'm going to go for a little walk out into the shallows. The tide's a little bit low, so the water's pretty shallow near the shore. I'm going to just gently hop this pilchard back towards the shore. Yep, it's definitely pretty shallow here. I would need to walk out, otherwise I'm not going to get my line into the deep zone where it needs to be. So I keep coming out all the way out near this little buoy. Okay, so here we go. And that's pretty good. The wind is at my back, so that makes it enjoyable. I'm just going to adjust my drag, so if something decent takes it, it can pull a bit of line. I'm going to let this bait sink to the bottom. My plan is actually to just walk. I'm not just fishing in one spot. My plan is to walk along the shore, fishing the edge of the drop-off. Okay, so I've hooked a fish on this pilly. It actually was on the first drop when it landed on the bottom. It didn't, I didn't get a chance to skip it across the bottom. It's just going sideways. It feels pretty good, actually. At this point in time, it could be a bream, I'm not sure. It keeps tracking sideways. I need to walk it into the shore because I'm out a little bit. What a beautiful afternoon it is. I can't see it yet. Yeah, it is a nice... Actually, look at that. I think it's a trevally, actually. It's a different species. Decent size, though. Just going to bring him up on the beach. He's a good eating fish. So, you know, when you fish the estuary, you can catch all sorts of things, especially when you're using pilchards for bait. You can catch a lot of different fish. He's got a bit of energy, this fish. Just going to put a bit more pressure on him now. He doesn't want to come in though. Here he comes. Oh, look at that. That's quite a solid trevally for in the lake. Yeah, he's a ripper. That's quite a decent trevally for in the lake. Good fighters, and I like eating trevally. They're beautiful. So gosh, that's in making this video, I'm getting a few different species of fish on the pilchards. They really are quite versatile. So this trevally is a perfect fish for the table. You can see how far you can cast with no lead at all and just a pilchard, using braid with a fluoro leader. Let's just watch and see what happens this time. If you'd like a free PDF download of some vital keys from today's session, hit the link in the corner or in the description below. There you go, guys. Flicking unweighted pilchards in an estuary is a super fun and simple way to fish, and you can catch some really good fish. I caught a couple of lovely fish in making this video, and over the years I've caught some huge flathead, many hundreds of flathead fishing this way, bream, tailor, all sorts of things. So yeah, a really good method to use, something you could do with your kids, or you just want a simple way to fish. It's a really good way to go. And remember, if you've got any questions, please put them in the comments. I love to hear from you. I'd like to get your thoughts, any input. I'm here to help. Certainly love doing that. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you again very soon.